that bit. Oh,
Sorry.
got it. And then, oh, hang on a sec, Christian. Here we go. I'm opening up loads of things now. And then also, yeah, so I think Fund 10 perhaps is a good point to pull stuff together a bit. It was really, we were talking about, so with Edify, what we do, and with CNC, is there anything that we can look at or areas we could look at for moving stuff together? That was where I was sort of coming from. And so it wasn't necessarily some massive discussion, but it was if that was of interest, really.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I think Fund 10 in particular is a good prod, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm personally keen, for sure. When you say Fund 10, are you looking to sort of see if we can sort of allocate or come up with some sort of proposal there?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are much more professional at this stuff than I am.
Mm.
Yeah. We've had a few proposals got through. I think we had about 7 or 8 altogether. And they weren't particularly massive. And I'll be honest, I have no expectation of anything that we do, as in Edify, getting through the criteria for the next fund. That's where I'm coming from. But equally, we thought that in Fund 7 and 8 and 9, and we got stuff through a bit. But then also, I know it's been rejigged. And so who knows? I know, and again, this would be open to the floor because I had a chat with Chris, I think, a couple of months ago. But then also, I think my view of it is a good focus because it will have some deadlines to try and work out what would work or not work, and then get something done or not done in time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What is the deadline for that? Does anyone have this ready?
I think it kicks off on June the 10th. That's all I know.
I think the 21st of June. Anyway, this month.
Yeah, it's around the corner, isn't it?
Sounds quite awfully close to me, I must say, considering what we have already on our plate. But it's always good to kind of maybe use that as a sort of springboard, starting things off, but maybe not necessarily fully pushing for submitting for Fund 10, but maybe aim for Fund 11, but take Fund 10 as a sort of focus point.
Maybe getting some, you mean still doing a proposal and getting some feedback, or just?
It's just because it takes time, and you know, it's a 2 months. How long does it usually now? A month, I think, from when they're launching until you have to submit, and then you have like it's a 2 months or 3 months process to go through. And certainly small ideas might be maybe some of. I mean, I think we should maybe think about some of the stuff we already consider doing, rather than inventing something new. Anything with regards to goal creation or whatever, where we can use stuff that we already have.
How is it?
Well,
One thing I would like to know: how is it if you make a proposal and it got not accepted, and you're doing it at the next season fund? Are you burned, kind of? How is it in the Catalyst, or are you not burned? Because I think I saw sometimes projects they tried it a few times, and after the 3rd or 4th time, you got professional, a bit more details. So is it like this? You're not burned, right? If you try something and got not accepted?
Not necessarily, yeah. It's sort of depending on how you presented it the first round, and they might have just not been interested by the community, or because they've slightly reworked it now. But you know, in the olden days, it was just about getting enough votes for it. So maybe the next round, people say, "Yeah, we need this. It's important," and then they vote for it.
What?
So, yeah.
I done a 3 hours workshop with someone who's actually just someone who is how he call it? What was the name for it? He was checking on project and got good. Not. He was you could earn other with that. What is it called when you're doing that? Reviewing. He was reviewing projects, and he got a 3 hours workshop with people who were just been interested. And he just explained a lot of things, what is actually good. So it could be also helpful if I mean, it's a short time, I know. But could be helpful if something, and even if it's got not accepted, we see what people may say, what's not enough information, was not clear enough, or right. It's not only we're not interested, we maybe not bringing up a good proposal. And
Yeah, that's why maybe we could use this as like a pilot project. We can just try one of our ideas and see if we can get it into shape to propose it, to submit it, and then not expect anything and just see what the feedback is, and then really go for Fund 11.
That's one way. Sorry, just 1 second. The other way would be getting 1 or 2 persons who are doing that on a professional way. I know one person, and he earned quite a lot of ADA because he's doing really nice reviews, getting them beforehand, asking, checking our proposal if we think we get burned or something. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we have any technical requirements that could help us move forward, so if we can, you know, get funding for something we really need and that we think need, and then we can maybe combine with, I mean, obviously with Edify, the combination obviously is sort of advisor, and there is a coaching aspect to it maybe. So if there's any sort of stake pool coaching or something like that, I don't know if there's any tools, maybe funding for like a better mirror board that we can easily use or something like that, for everyone. I don't know, but it's worthwhile brainstorming a little bit. So do you have anything in mind, Harry?
Well, I think I can answer the first question about do we get burned. I think traditionally what happens is if you put a proposal in and it doesn't go very well, in our case, Abe would have to fly over to Colorado and then run around the campus naked a couple of times and going, I'm sorry, that was so rubbish. And then I think that makes Charles happy, and then you're okay. So that solves that bit.
I'd love to go to Colorado.
Good to see you, Abe. And yeah,
you get to meet Charles. Doesn't matter if you're not,
exactly.
you get to meet Charles.
It's a win-win. I'm comfortable in my own skin.
Exactly. He's got his Apache attack helicopter. Which someone told me once he might have. Well, I've never met him, so I don't know.
He's going to splice mammoth DNA as well and support or create a Jurassic Park. I mean,
there you go. So you'll be able to run around that. Yeah, it was a simple one. Because when we did the first iteration with Sonada and the other guys there as well, we did put so for Edify, we put 3 proposals in so far for SPOs. We did the SPO, you know, the beta testing of the rough stuff. That was the first one. And then this one, which is sort of productizing the product. And then the next one is a train the trainer one for Africa. And we kicked that one off really with Megan and a couple of the other guys. But that's why we had Carpool and Tevo. We ran it with Swarm for a while as well as an accelerator. So there's still that trajectory to broaden out, as you said, to get a better mirror board and someone who can drive it properly. And so there's that bit to it. My personal, whatever you call it, my personal goal is, you know, we built these tools, and I took and my team, not just me, to be fair, took a lot of time and effort to try and take what we were doing that we'd already recut for lockdown to go online and take it so that it could be used as an accelerator, or because it's usually fast growth, it's usually the level above, it's usually like fast growth businesses. However, it was to put it in a space that we could modularize it and then get it out to the right people. Now, what I learned with Catalyst is that on the dev side, that's quite hard, because what I would call an incubator and an accelerator, and what Catalyst or the devs would call an incubator and accelerator, is a degree different. So when they're talking about an accelerator in my world, they really mean just a little incubator, because unless I'm coaching DC Spark or someone like that, then they're not generating millions of dollars of revenue, and they don't have a fully fledged product in that space. So it's a different proposition. Having said that, what I learned with you guys, with the SBOs, is, yeah, my firm belief is you are a new business sector. However it ends up, wherever it ends up, you are the kernel of a new type of business.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be strong. You know, you guys need supporting, because it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you need supporting, but you don't want to be all the same entity, because then you'll lose the you'll lose the divergent bit, the decentralized bit.
Would you feel,
that's where I come from.
how would you feel, Harry, for example, if you would, for example, coach Teti Kasala to start their own pool or something like that? You know, I mean, to bring their business into your business model, and at the same time, you know, staying with Cardano.
Yeah, that's what we're doing with WADA. That's why I'm doing so much work with WADA, because it's so what I'm doing with Mercy and Josh is to, again, take the product, and Megan's already doing it, make it like a degree simpler, so that's the train the trainer, so it can be used by any community hub, and they can, like exactly what you're saying there, Christian, so they can then launch their own stake pool. And that's how I was looking at originally. That's how we were looking at doing it with John T, with Goma. But the issue was that they're Francophile, and so that's a bit more complex to get it into French, and no, that will happen, but it's hard to do it in generation 1. So that's what I'd love to see. There was, as far as we got, the trajectory in it, and I can show you the closeout reports on 7, but 7, 8, 9, nothing got through in 9. Yeah, it was just didn't happen. The only thing that got through was a tiny little project to do Cardano to Cambridge, which I've had limited bandwidth for, but it will happen. The other one that we got in Fund 9 was in that funny category that all went pear-shaped, where us and WADA have put a valuation, because the next step after growing a business through incubator, accelerator, scale up into, you know, exponential growth, is valuation. And so that's the program we've done with WADA, is how to value all that stuff. So that one's sort of happening. We put in Fund 8, I think it was, with Nori in that, to do like an SBO Academy or an SBO DAO, which is just, you know, you guys are doing this. It's just building that hub so that SBOs can come to it and they get support. Now, what I really like with you guys is it's actually more targeted support, because you've got your climate, your neutral angle to it. And for me, that makes it much easier, rather than just saying to an SBO, who are usually pretty from Texas, aren't they, usually? So they're not going to want to talk to anyone else, and they'll carry a large gun. Yeah. So that's the issue, is a lot of them have that Wild West sort of Texan approach to things, which is they'll clump and do stuff on their own, which is good. That's brilliant. But then how do you get that central? That's my question. How do you get the central weighting? How do you build an academy? How do you build something like you're trying to do? Yeah. And I like it because it's more focused. Yeah. So that was my thoughts on it. We do something around that area to help promote you guys and get more people into CNC, build up that carbon neutral side of it. And you're quite right. If that then flows out to your causes, that's totally fine by me.
So, Harry, do you have a connection with DC Spark?
No.
Damn. Okay.
No, and again, I'm not sure where they would fit, but usually when we're coaching, there can be little businesses, but they're often, I don't know, 10, 20 million up to about 500 million. And our issue for Edify is, since COVID and that, we've been stretched on manpower, and we haven't been out there getting enough on-chain clients to just do on-chain work. Because me and a couple of the guys invested a lot of time and effort in on-chain, versus off-chain. We invested a lot in on-chain, and that seems slow. The off-chain stuff, we haven't put enough bandwidth behind it. So that's where we are. So, and I'd love to carry on with the on-chain stuff. I'd love to make this work, build courses, build an academy, build whatever, get it supported by the Cardano Foundation, get it supported by Emergo, get it supported by IOG, because in my humble opinion, that isn't really happening very well. And I don't know why. It may be different with Matthias and some of the guys, but for some reason, and this is just my tiny humble opinion, SPOs seem to be being ignored. A bit like the climate, a bit like WADA. They're not on the radar. Over to you guys.
I mean, SPOs SPOs will always play a big role, but ISPOs will play less and less in the future, I guess. It's just because also, I don't know how this cyclus, I'm not sure how the ride will go, but you're always getting less and less, just a little bit ADA, right? In 10 years, I don't know how much ADA you get for just staking, delegating, but
you will get more transaction fees. I mean, the idea is that you earn less with your monthly epoch fees or block fees, but you will get transaction fees, and obviously that's down to voting. And obviously the first trial of voting is just gone out, and there wasn't a massive uptake yet. But I think there will be more. I mean, clearly stake pool operators need to make some income, otherwise they will leave. And so also for any purposes, we need to do that income goes somewhere and needs to be useful. And obviously in the bear market right now, I mean, you're always risking people losing too much energy, too much time, too much money, and just stopping it for a while until things restart. That's, I think, the problem of it. Right, and there's a lot of stuff to think about.
Yeah. Have you guys read through the Fund 10 SPO category bit?
No.
Because I think that may be somewhere to start, because I know they're very keen. So like one of the blobs, and to be fair, I looked at it whenever it was now, last year, wasn't it? When it was getting serious. I think that's when we spoke to Chris or whatever. And yeah, they were trying to work out, we spoke in January, and they were trying to work out how to put the business focus in there. And I wasn't really convinced about how they were trying to do it as a miscellaneous category again or something. However, there is a blob in there for SPOs, and whether that's for technology and SPOs or what, but there is actually a fund this time that's got SPOs on it. So it's not just a general dev fund, it's an SPO sort of development fund. And so I think in that space, writing proposals and that is a lot quicker now, because you literally use Nori to do ChatGPT, and that writes the proposal really fast. But there are some threads, and I think for you guys, education is a thread, isn't it? Education and support is a thread for CNC. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And one of your markets are other SPOs.
Yes.
So the way I look at it, I'd like to get some income out of it as well, to build that model, to get some income in, to reinvest and all that stuff I'd like to do with Edify. However, again, it's not massive amounts of income per person. It's just to get the model working and paying for itself so we can scale it. And then even take an outside catalyst. That's my bit when I looked at it. And I found that bit crosses what you guys do very well, because I often do my sustainability, or I often do my good stuff by supporting other people. They're brilliant in an area, so I support them, and it just helps them be brilliant faster. That's how I don't go out and do front end sustainability or front end climate change or front end whatever. I tend to help people who are in that space get to that space faster and better.
Yeah. I mean, if we're onboarding pools, for example, I mean, that's one of the things. If we would have some funding for you, to do a similar workshop that you've done with us already, maybe more focused on climate change, maybe take some of our climate change related goals on board. But basically, if pools join us, for example, they have to fulfill certain criteria, but they also, you know, they also get coaching basically at the same time.
Yeah, and that would be wonderful, because I've been doing Grace's DAO stuff, and that's been interesting because again, that's very discussion led. But the governance for me will be the next space where there's a big need for change. So yeah, that's where I come from. If we can find something, I've got a program that we get, like a sausage machine we can put people into, they can get educated, and not just what Edify do, but this is the bit we're doing with Singularity Net. We build an education model, and then into the hopper, we put the different levels of education. And it's integrated, and out the other end of the hopper, you get the commercial and the cultural, you get the sustainability, you get all that intangible asset stuff is all built into what you do. And that's what I saw with you guys. Yeah, the platform we have will fit your focus very well. So as you said, Christian, it's not hard to just make it more explicit about having a carbon track in there as well.
Yeah.
That was what I saw the win was.
I think what you need is sort of a lead. If one of us, for example, here would be interested in driving it, you know, if someone, because I think when you're putting a proposal in Catalyst, I mean, or I know from usually you have one or two people, you know, driving it, and it makes it just easier to sort things out. It's not going to be something that goes through our group at the moment. But if one of us here would be up for, you know, developing one of those things and maybe get some own funding in through it, applying for Catalyst Fund is an experience anyway to go through it, and just, you know, reports back here to the group and we just support it. I wouldn't be unhappy about it, but you know, you need someone fight with time, and honestly, it's not going to be me. I can tell you that much. Don't know if anyone else wants to jump on the bandwagon and, you know, develop something at this, you know, funds 10. You know, if someone is up for applying for some funding to do some of it, we can put our name behind it, but they would have to drive it with Harry, maybe together, and you know, be proactive about getting the feedback. Is there anyone interested here?
I'm always keen for anything really, to whatever the physics allows, but the laws of physics.
You know, I'm willing as well. The thing is the time always, you know, I cannot guarantee I can put in a certain amount of hours per week or anything.
Yeah, and I think that's brilliant. I'm a bit concerned that I can't match Rick's level of coolness. That's the issue, to be honest. Yeah. And God forbid if Abe turned up as well, then I'd just be blown out of the water. But
just wear your hat, you'll be good.
I know that this is the hat. You see, that this is the scary bit. And when I shave the beard down, then it's very worrying. Yeah, I don't do that to people often. So yeah, to be honest, that bit I'll post the board link for the closeout reports on it. But that bit, in a way, is sort of done. We have a stream. You know, we've got a stream that we're inside, with 3 or 4, 5 actually proposals already sit in the same stream that go in the same way. This one is just more focused again on SBOs. And so actually, I think, like you said, Christian, it doesn't need a huge amount of work, because I can chop up and say what we've done, and we can show all the stuff. And it's really, is it of use to you guys to have some support to onboard potential CNC peeps? And will it be of use to them to go through that sort of incubator / accelerator program we've done? Do you feel that would be useful for the CNC peeps? Because those are the two questions. Because if they're a yes, then let's do it. If they're a no, then don't bother. But it shouldn't take lots of hours, particularly from your side. It's, as you said, it's mainly just framing stuff slightly differently so it fits the ESGs, so it fits whatever's. Yeah.
Now, I was thinking in terms of when we ask new pools to join, that we in any case have that process streamlined more, so that when they are joining the group, they're understanding what their role is and what is expected of them. And also working in that process is to ask them what is their value, or what is their what is their mission. The points we discussed initially is to ask them the very same question at the point of joining, and to take them through a process at some point, or at least somehow do that with them, that they are also growing and improving by doing this, and also are clear as to what is required when being a part of this type of alliance. Yeah.
We need support we still need to work out our product. So obviously last time we discussed about what we wanted to do, and we had kind of a little bit of quite some energy in the room, I think, with the new ideas of building, more of a voting model where we support certain projects. And I think there needs to be something in there. I mean, I'm not saying we have an onboarding part, of course, but actually to onboard people, just without having yet a clear idea of what we want to do with the people is like the wrong way around, isn't it? I mean, I'm very willing, Harry, to support you because you have supported us so far, but we are a bit short of time at the moment, and so we need to be very clear what we're doing together, because you see, you have the active people here, and the active people always want to be doing things, but there are very few active people here. So I think that's one of the main problems we have. If we can do something about that, get more people active, however we want to do that, from the pools we have available, how can we get people, the other 15 pools that we have signed up, how can we get inactive people active, for example? If you have any ideas on that, that'd be fantastic. If you have or if we bring anyone else in, channel creations and so forth, we certainly need more manpower to deliver on these things more efficiently. And at the same time, we need to figure out, how we want to shape that model going forward, in terms of what projects we want to support without, burning ourselves out. And as I said, I have to deliver an F7 project, which I'm super far behind.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I really need to be,
that's top of mind for me, is getting our F7 project done.
Yeah.
And then start trying to wrap our heads around getting consensus within CNC on what are we going to be going forwards. That's a time sensitive one.
Yeah, so I'm happy actually to get, eventually I need to write that up, finalize that, and then there will be a lot of group work there. And there will be something, the next COP conferences are coming up. So the carbon accounting is what our F7 project is, right? And we are by far behind, or I am personally very far behind with this. And it doesn't help me to take on new things. And
no, I understand.
That's why I say if anyone else wants to take on things there, but if we can work together towards something, and if we can finish what we started, that'd be more benefit.
That's the first priority, is get you guys to a level where you can leverage it internally, but also externally. You've got something you can show people that's actually got results on, about what are you doing, where are you off to, what's your product, what's your market. That's where we need to get to. Now, that won't take long, and it may only be 10 slides, but you guys, that's the bit you deserve. You put so much effort into it. What I know is it will change your lives, and it will change the way you do stuff, but there's an extra value just nailing the last bits. So that's important. That's very important to me. How about then if we got Leon and Rick, and perhaps the three of us, and anyone else is interested, if we just booked an hour in and we literally just brainstormed it and worked out, well, what could it be then? And part of it, where you guys, when you have your meetings, you've been through, this is a very short version of it, Yeah, the one we've done is a very short, simplified, but actually I'm realizing very powerful version for guys like you. Yeah, simple and short is powerful. We faffed a bit near the end, but that's okay. Because sometimes you have to, it's like a mine, you have to keep going back in and digging again. And then, like last session, stuff pops out where you guys have a different level of awareness of what we've done. You see your stuff from a different level again. And then you go, well, we could do this and we can do that. And that is important. It's ever so easy to just do the simple linear version where you come up with a decent set of slides, you've got a business, you've got a bit of a product, blah, 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 but you're not cohesive.
I mean, in this case, Harry, what we want to do, or what you, Rick, and maybe Leon will do is like, Rick and Leon will say, we will get there. And Harry, how do we add value by adding you into the picture?
Yeah,
and
that's brilliant.
basically, yeah. We need to
Because
do.
obviously I have our Edify point of view, but that's the issue. I'm in it. I'm in the box. Yeah. So I can't see the value when you're in the box. It's one of those Einstein type ones. Yeah. You can't solve the problem from the same level as the problem. Yeah. So, all right, that would be brilliant. Because I'd love to make something work with it. And I'd like to support you guys building your community, because your community has got 3 or 4 facets. But one of them is getting more SBOs involved. But the other one is helping SBOs become carbon neutral. Well, that's a hugely educational one.
Yeah.
That's the part that occurs to me in a logical way. Is I think if we offer, for example, it's difficult to get pools to join CNC en masse already. And I think if there's a kind of seminar session component that we're recommending, that would be more of an obstacle than a draw, because it's a time commitment and the people are considering carefully, well, do I want to get involved with this already? Because everybody's busy these days. But is there a way to try to get SPOs to be green, period, whether they join CNC or not? Now that's something that could make a powerful catalyst proposal.
Yeah, or not, depending on the guys with the wallets. But yeah, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Yeah.
You need that spark.
Yeah, I mean, that needs to be like a something to aspire to, or something that is like asking the question is, why not would you want to do that? No, it's like it's obvious thing that's like something like an award you collect, or some badge you get because everyone wants the badge. It's like the same mentality like the meme thing. Everyone just goes like sandpiper after it for some dumb reason, but this is for a good cause and this is for the right reasons.
Well, for example, what if there is something built into the protocol that rewards pools that run on 100% renewable, so they get a little higher stake, or they get a little better luck, or they somehow, it benefits the delegators? All pools overnight are going to want to be green.
And that's a brilliant point, because that's the bit, and you guys know the foundation and I don't. And that's the bit I don't understand. They're the ones who've got a huge amount of power to help build out all those lofty goals, but they don't, maybe I just miss it, but they only seem to deploy it in an ad hoc fashion. They don't seem to have a strategy to do what you've just said, Devin, really. And that's
they do have a strategy nobody knows about exactly. They have an internal strategy, is doing stuff, but I think it's very hard to see sometimes but they're, from a stake pool perspective, they're certainly not supporting that very well.
Stephen was lining up a meeting, right? Our next meeting with the foundation. That seems like a no-brainer for a point of discussion at that meeting.
Yeah.
Like if IOG and CF and Charles, if they want Cardano to be green, well, what a simple change that would be that could be done internally in concert with
from our meeting with Alex, he pretty much was very happy if we would write a SIP or write a proposal to change the blockchain to in some way incorporate the green aspect, the sustainability aspect into the blockchain. So this is something they're pretty much open to, from what they said at the last meeting.
But why wouldn't they? I mean, they can't prevent that, but and clearly it's something we have to do. If we just have to be very conscientious about what that SIP may be, you know. I mean, or maybe we just put, again, it's putting it for a vote initially anyway, isn't it? But it needs to be convincing.
Well, but the two different mechanisms there. One, if it's catalyst issue, are you talking putting it to a vote as in an SPO poll?
The
SIP
protocol changes will require that anyway if you're doing a protocol change, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so there's three. There's the SIP voting, there's the SPO poll voting, and then there's the catalyst voting. So there's three levels to try to gauge. But it could be, yeah, I don't know. It could be even a top-down sort of a thing where IOG and CF just say, hey, this is something that makes sense and it's something we can do and it's a simple change and we feel good about it. I don't know.
But maybe it's always difficult. How to make it simple? What is the simple thing to do?
I suppose it would have to be a SIP. Yeah.
I've got some legwork done on a SIP, just notes, not the actual SIP, but something that proposes something similar to this, is to explain how you would go about getting the network and the nodes to prove that they're on renewables, etc., etc. So it's quite a lengthy thing, and it's definitely something interesting to look at. Yeah, for sure.
Well, you could also, in terms of catalyst. Sorry, Harry. We have had a catalyst proposal, you know, that came from CO2 pool, which was about tracking which pools are running on renewables. It didn't get enough votes to be funded, but maybe we can reuse some of that stuff as well, you know. So it's not that we have to reinvent everything, but some of the technology that's in there already. So if we can combine it with something, but yeah.
Yeah, so that was for building a website that essentially showed a world map of all the node locations and which ones were running on renewables and which weren't. And that's something integrated with our existing website, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the key thing is about where do you get the data from for that. You know, I think obviously a survey for the carbon footprinting, for example, there will be a survey done very likely. So it's all based on volunteering data rather than actually having proof. So I think that's where there could be an added value. How do you prove, you know, that people run on renewables in a simple way? Or, you know, so you can actually check it or something like that. That would be interesting if someone has an idea on that.
So I'm hearing, without getting into the content, I'm hearing then that we've got some stuff there around. So what came out for me last time, and we've said it a couple of times, was look, if you're trying to get guys on board, you'll need, you know, the easiest way to do that is to promote the positives. So come on board. Just like Abe, you're going to end up with a couple of Lambos within a year, you know, and you're going to save the planet, and you're going to do this, and it's all the positives. And that's what you guys were saying last time. That's what will attract people. Beating them and telling them, you know, you should be sustainable, you should be carbon neutral, you should be this. For a lot of them, like you've said, they've got a load of their own stuff to do, and maybe they don't really know the journey. So I've got a question for you in there in a sec. That's why I was talking. So that's the first bit. So for me, how I can help with Edify and our stuff is helping with that positives. Like hopefully you guys you've gone through the process, and I need to get a closeout report off you, or a video for the closeout report. But you've gone through the process, and hopefully so far it's been of good value for your time, because you've invested a lot of time in it. But hopefully it's been worth it. So that's what we want to be offering to the people who come into CNC. It's, well, we can help you get, you know, more. So either it's usually less time, yeah, more money, less stress. That's what you offer people, yeah. So come and do our program, which we're doing with Edify, and we can help you get carbon, you know, we can help you get focused on being carbon neutral over a period of time with no stress, without taking much time, yeah, and you'll get more money. That's the proposition for your other CNC peeps. It's not like we're going to come and beat you until you're compliant. It's more, no, it's positive doing this stuff, because there is a market out there for people who want to have green initiatives for these things, and you can still be at the forefront of that because CNC is big enough to grow it, to be able to offer those things. So that was the one point for me, was the for your new members, yeah, and your existing ones. And that's where we can definitely meld those two things. So we can take the base platform, it's already been cut to be more relevant for SPOs. We can certainly put another facet in there, which is about how to get a green and successful SPO out of it. Yeah, how to be successful and green. Not green and successful, but successful. Oh, by the way, you're green as well. So you're going to be even more successful. The plan B stuff. So we can definitely do that bit. What the other bit I heard, because I'd mentioned IOG, Cardano, and Emergo. And my bit that I don't understand, I'm a bit naive sometimes. I don't understand why CF haven't got a 3-year plan for you guys. And I know they will have a plan that says, well, we've got a pool and we'll chuck out some minting out to some peeps. But it doesn't seem very structured or with any big goals behind it. So who do we talk to in CF to get them to make sure they allocate you with more strategy over a longer time frame? So you've got some more stability. And again, this set of tools can be useful for that, because again, the idea is, well, we're building you a platform for your own branding. You know, we're the guys who are going to give you the green credentials. That's how I present this to CF. Yeah, us and the people like us, we're going to deliver that for you. So back us and stop messing about. And that needs taken to whoever it is in CF. The one for Emergo is similar, isn't it? They care about stake pools and they've got funding and they'll invest in apps and stuff. Well, why aren't they investing in stake pool associations then?
Yeah, I mean, they're not that much, are they? With certain, goals, but I think there are certainly a lot of contacts we have. I mean, our contact is clearly Alex, and we have said it already that we are having that contact and we have the meetings with him. So maybe that.
And that's lovely. But I heard a technical solution again, Christian. I didn't hear a revenue protection solution for you guys for 6 months or 12 months. I heard how you're going to help Cardano. I didn't hear how Cardano are going to help you.
Yeah.
If that comes from one of the founding entities, it will have to come from IOG or Emergo, because I know for a fact that the foundation has limited resources to do and to support projects and to fund things. Emergo and IOG have 3 or 4 times the amount of allocation that the foundation has.
Yeah.
So if we want to go down that route, it would need to be IOG or Emergo.
Yeah, but again, see, and I'm being devil's advocate, yeah. So I hear what you're saying, but I'm not interested because I want the money. Yeah, I want the $1 million ADA or whatever it is set aside for over a 2 or 3 period to make this stuff work properly. That's where I'm coming from. So in that space, Cardano Foundation, then they do have a bloody great treasury, and out of that treasury, they have stuff minted. They pay money to you guys. Yeah, they allocate blocks to you, but they're paying you money when they do that. They're giving you, they're paying you, what's the word? It's charity again. They're funding you for good works.
One thing I've thought about myself is why they can perhaps, whenever they choose pools to delegate to in the rounds that they do, that they say we delegate, let's say of the 40 wallets they have, we delegate 5 of them to pools that are also sustainable.
Fabulous, job done.
That's something they can do.
Yeah.
I'm being mean on you, Stephen.
No, it's a fair question.
I'm taking you as
No.
them.
No,
So
I
that was the conversation I was going to have with them originally when I was going to talk to them, and I think the lady left. But it's like, what the fuck?
yeah, I agree. I also thought about
You're
this.
not using it to. I can't see a plan for you using it to grow the base, not just. I know they supported people like Swarm for quite a while and everything, but I don't think Swarm got allocated last time. So where's their strategy then? So that would be the hard questions I'd be asking CF. They have a lot of power in your space. They have a lot of power. If I don't want to ramble, I don't want to not rambling. I don't want to go sideways. But in positioning, remember when we started to look at positioning, and we haven't really done it for you yet. But the thing about positioning is, you guys are the product for CF. That's one of their stated things: is have lovely, smiley people. So it's nice culture, nice people. Oh, and stake pool operations.
I mean, Harry, you have I think what I would suggest, because I think Stephen, I mean, you have a little input into CF. We know Alex, but Alex is not a high ranking person either. The person that we know has possibly a bit more to say is if you talk about being in Britain, obviously there's David Taylor, but it will be hard from a marketing perspective to get into touch. The person that I would again think about, and we have had lots of contact with in the beginning, a long time ago, was Jeremy Furster. The partnership, I don't know what his title is now, but it's probably rather high up. And Jeremy Furster is the one that, has sets up partnerships. And, we were always talking about channels and stuff. So if you want to, maybe if Stephen can help, I don't know, set up a meeting, you guys can just have a chat maybe with
that was brilliant.
With Jeremy, and just throw some ideas around.
Because I saw Lynn Gummo, who was, I think, the operations lady originally, and she was over at Lucerne. So I met her there, and we were going to have another chat, but I think she might have left. So I'm not sure she's there anymore.
And Jeremy's in Singapore.
Stephen, was it not? You also been last time, right? With Alex at CNF, our meeting, I think. Was it you also?
Yeah.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
And I understood on a way once he actually, because Harry, you said we are the project, right? But I think I remember it right, that he actually asked and said like, so what's your next step? What are you doing? So what product will you, if I'm mixing that together, the question was actually, what will we do? How can we support you? As long as I don't know what's your next step, right?
And I think
I heard that on his way.
That's kind of why he wants an agenda from us for the meeting too. Find out so he can prepare for that.
Yeah, and we didn't have really an answer, right? We had nothing. We said we're still thinking and planning.
We're working on it, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely a way.
Yeah, you're part of their product. I'm being harsh with you, but you're a major part of their product, and product flows to positioning. So if you remember, there's the sort of vision bit, which is why we're doing it. And the vision flows to the value proposition, the product, which is what do we do that adds value? And then it's, well, who values it? And who values it is the positioning. Now, you guys are part of the product of Cardano. You literally run the network. So how you run the network, the ethos of running the network, the values behind running the network, all that stuff you have is a massive positive point for Cardano versus, I don't know, Solana or whatever it is. Because, and this is me being harsh, and I am apologizing, I've talked a bit too much and I've been too harsh, but I'll just tell you it. In my world, from the tiny bit I understand, Ethereum already have a moral high ground because they're the ones who didn't want to make it such a business and so commercial. So already Cardano is seen as more of a business. So it's nice to want to bring everyone up. But if that's how normal people see it, and I'd count myself as perhaps a normal person in that space, that's my understanding, they're already on the back foot. So you would think then they would be promoting proper, not just the vaporware of, well, we do this, we do that, but actually they have a massive opportunity with what they built with Catalyst and all the other stuff, massive opportunity to deploy it and tell people, look, we've got these guys, we've got climate for Cardano for climate, we've got CNC, we've got these guys. We give out wallets that are delegated to people who are aiming to be carbon neutral. So that's massive publicity for these guys. And I don't understand why, well, I do understand. I don't understand why they're not doing it. And they're not, because they've got three entities that are not coordinated and seem to be fighting each other. But anyway, apart from that, the fact is, though, the foundation people are supposed, as I understand it, they're the ones who actually own the brand. They're the ones who have the nice, fluffy brand. That's why it's a foundation, because it's not about the money.
Yeah.
Well, all your stuff is not about the money, is it? Your stuff is run really efficient stake pools. Oh, that happen to be carbon neutral. Oh, that happen to be causes that are focused on green. It's a huge triple whammy. So not only are you part of their product because you deliver their network, you're potentially a massive asset to their brand.
Yeah. You'd almost suspect that they'd want to subsidize that, right?
Yeah.
Like all the green pools, if you really want most pools operating to be green, you don't need to give 20 of them 15 million at a delegation. We're all wanting 1 million.
You
or
just
2
want it
million.
easy, don't you?
Right. You want to help raise that floor for green pools so that they can get some more return on their investment. It costs people money to become sustainable. It's an upfront cost that, if you can help them get blocks quickly, you'll get more green stake pools, right? It's about incentives.
So I do 2 or 3 of these late night things for us, in the evenings. And why I do it is because the energy you guys have is amazing. You're trying to do something for everybody. And you put, like you were saying, Christian, loads of time and effort into doing loads of time and things with your super brainy stuff and your commitment and passion, and you're trying to build something. So generally what you do is you just support people like you, find people like you and people who could be like you, and you just support them.
Yeah.
Finished, done.
I mean, I think we get your point. I mean, we know it. I mean, we have had these conversations with the Cardano Foundation initially too. So I think they might need one of your workshops, for the Cardano Foundation to figure out what they want.
Yeah, originally we were going to do that. That was the thing.
They should pay you for it though, not for free. But I think maybe have that conversation. I mean, for us, from our experience with the Cardano Foundation and also IoT, I think mostly Cardano Foundation, it was with Veritree. Initially, they maybe they're burned out themselves as well. They put a lot of energy in certain companies, and then they don't necessarily get much back, and so forth. So that's a high risk thing. You invest. It's like any investment. Put 10 companies out there, maybe one will fly. And that takes energy, and I think they do a good job, but they are also not as big as they look like.
In all seriousness, Christian, I'm playing devil's advocate. Yeah, I've been in their position before when I was in corporate and stuff like that and helping other firms, and I've got massive respect for them as well, because they are having to act like a multi-billion-dollar corporate when they've got like 500 people. Now, the businesses that maybe some of you guys were in and I was in, they had 100,000 people in the business. They had 5,000 people in marketing. So
I think Cardano Foundation only has 100 people or something like that.
It's like 80 now.
How are they going to deliver that? Yeah,
80 at the moment, something like that.
So
really,
they need support, don't they? So this is nothing. This is never anything personal, because I believe that most of the people I've ever met in blockchain, we joke about the Ferraris, but most of them are trying to do it because it's a good thing. and they're working extra hours to do that. So we've lost Abe. So I think in that space, yeah, if we've got a contact that we can set up a chat with inside CF, and if we perhaps Stephen, if we talk about it first to set up an agenda, and we can sort of build in some of the results of what we've done to show them how, you know, what you're going to do and how they can support you, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we can try to contact Jeremy and make an agenda. I mean, Jeremy, he knows about us. He was in not the last Twitter space, but the one before that. He was also in our Twitter space, and he commented and things like that. So he knows what we do.
He doesn't know Harry.
No, he doesn't know Harry, but he knows us. But yeah, we can contact him and we can make an agenda. Yeah.
Because we can set up a program now. We can take the stuff we've done and put it into a deck, and you can take him back and say, this is what we're up to. This is what we'd love to do. And this is how you can support us to support you.
Yeah. Yeah. That again, we need to finish what we started. So I think we need to come. I have the feeling that we got the stuff that chimed with us. We need to put that into action at the same time as we're finishing the ISPO. But so that's where the time frames are a bit blurry at the moment. So we need to work towards it, but obviously, literally, practically, I think the stuff that we have to do to finish the ISPO will be over the next month. There will be we will be struggling to do anything more.
That's cool.
It's just to occasionally have a meeting and refresh it, and maybe work on some marketing / visual materials where we can move, like with your mirror board. It's literally about having things that we can shift around and show to people and say, like, what do you think about that? And over the next 4 weeks or whatever, just review it and snag out the things that maybe not great, or that not really chime, or they are too challenging or something, and just take the easy things out there. So maybe that's something to do. But
and so we don't need all of us to do that either, do we? Yeah. If
no,
you guys are happy on the purposes and stuff, if you've done your bit, so you're happy on where you are, then we just need to build the slides. Now, I'm happy to build the slides with somebody. Yeah, we don't need to all sit down, and you don't have to build all the slides yourselves. As long as I know what we're going to put in the slides, then I can work with somebody and we can just get it knocked off.
Yeah,
then can review it.
I mean, you have seen what I mean, I guess we haven't made a 100% decision, but if the stuff that we discussed last time, I think that certainly chimed. If we can put that actually in a little bit in a couple of slides as a sort of product definition.
Yeah. So is there someone who can work with me for a couple of hours to do that? Maybe like next week or whenever, really. Now you can work on it between times if you wish, but it'll be quite a couple of power, sort of focused power sessions, and we can just get that done.
Rick, you have a really good head for graphic layout and presentation of marketing materials. I wonder if, I mean, it seems to me that Harry, one of the things that was valuable for us as we went through building the whole mirror board panels was laying out, if we had one clear view at a glance, here's what we do. These people are our clients. We get paid from these people. This is this value add. If that was a pictorial, visual, easy to see at a glance without having to scroll in and out or anything as a graphic, that would be useful, I think.
Yeah, and we'll build them. The point of them in there is there are slides to fill in, and that'll build us a little deck. And it only has to be 10 slides or 15 slides, and they're all pretty much graphical. That's where we capture that stuff.
Like
so then we can present it. Then we've got a little deck you can send people. You can talk through it. You can do a workshop with them, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that works, that's usually how I see that. like you said, if we're talking to someone, we can show them slides or we can take them through the Miro. But you're right, and we need to get it down to very simple messaging again.
That sounds good.
So have you got some time then, Rick? And we'll book that in, and if we have a crack at that, I think what you're saying is fine, Christian. The thing about setting up the Cardano Foundation, for me, it needs energy in all three places. But you're quite right. The Cardano Foundation, that doesn't have to happen next week, does it? We're just teeing up another thread of revenue.
We need that kind of clear proposal, because at the moment, I think they are not going to put the work in for us. If it's something that we believe in, they'll support it. But we have to be probably we have to be more careful about maybe trying to get something back if we are offering it, rather than just offering it for.
No, this is the thing. You're doing it to help them, but you need support. And what you really need is not just support. You need consistent support for a period of time, because otherwise what happens with Catalyst, you put loads of effort. This is what John was saying. You put loads of effort into a proposal, then you don't win it. Well, that's 50 hours wasted. It's not that long these days, but it's time wasted. So then basically with me, I'm not even fussed about putting any proposals in this time, because last time we put about 9 proposals in. About 4 of us worked on it a long time to put about 9 proposals in, and we got nothing. So I'm thinking, as a business owner, a little business owner, I'm thinking, well, we can't be bothered with that again. So there's that bit. So there's Cardano Foundation, and I think that's an easy one because you've got good relationships and we've got a good product to offer them that's going to benefit them and us. And that doesn't have to be done this week. That can sit and bubble away. Emergo. What's going on with Emergo? If there are people we can talk to in Emergo about funding or whatever, I'm going to have a chat with Matthias, because we coached Matthias and Lox with Victor and Matthias. We coached them, me and Yoram coached them. But again, they blew all their money at the start on things they needed to do, but they didn't put enough sustainability into it, because why would they? So they run out of money. So I can have a chat with Matthias. Is there anyone else in Emergo?
I don't think we know anyone in Emergo. I don't know anyone. So it's mostly IOG or CF.
I know Anui Chaudhuri, this guy, but I don't know what his function is exactly.
Okay, who's that?
Yeah, I think he works for or does a lot of stuff for Cardano Spot, which is a part of Emergo.
Okay, but again,
what is it? Sorry, I missed it. Do we just need a direct email or something from someone in IOG without? Yeah,
someone that we can start a conversation with to find out. Because I've got a meeting set up with one of their guys, but he sort of pushed it back. But this sits right in that space. Again, it's just, how can they help us to help them?
Yeah, I will put it on my to-do list tomorrow when I have a meeting with Empower, because we've been quite often with them in contact. So I will ask my chief operating officer which contact he could give me so that we can talk a little bit. Let's see.
John, are you talking about Emergo?
No, it's just IOG, was it, I think?
No,
well, I can ask.
He's talking about Emergo.
No, but next one's IOG. The next one's IOG. And really, the only people I talk to in IOG is Chris.
Yeah, but I mean, IOG, we have the connection to Michaela. I mean, she's the person dealing with, and she can connect us to the right things, but she's also quite,
yeah,
she thinks quite careful.
She's so Christian, isn't she?
Sorry?
Michaela left last year.
Did she leave?
Yeah, she's over at Singularity Net now.
She's not even in. Okay.
I don't know. Again, I have no idea what the technical.
I thought she has so many chairs. I thought she was working for all these companies in parallel.
That's why her email address changed to the singularity.net email address.
Okay. No, she's over because we did the fireside. I did a fireside with her just before, and then after that, I think then she's put more focus into the other stuff. She might be there. I don't know anything, so she might still be there, but I don't think she's there.
She did present at the conference, and So why was she the presenter at the Cardano conference if she's solely working for Singularity then?
I don't know, but I don't think she's in the same.
She presented us as part of an overall package,
Yeah.
as though she was working for the CF.
Interesting.
Again, you'll know more than I do, but I don't think her focus is as tight as it was on.
Yeah, I believe she's very all over the place. She probably secures her own job in various ways, and she's on all the conferences. But she's the ESG, so she is the one that we know as the ESG person for Cardano. So or for IOG, and so we need to know whether or not there is someone. If she's not doing that anymore, we still need to know who is that person that does that for IOG now.
Yeah,
and that would be.
That
I
would
don't
be
know
the next bit.
if Stephen, if you know anything, Cardano Foundation probably would know such a thing for the evening
Oh,
card.
you can just send Mihaela an email and ask her directly.
Yeah,
We have her IOG email and her Singularity.
that's true.
I have a few email addresses and Slack connections to Emergo, but I'm not sure if they are the right people. As I sent a message in the Slack, so managing director of Emergo FinTech and FinTech community lead at Emergo. I can contact them and maybe ask someone within the foundation if they have the right connection to Emergo, perhaps.
Yeah, and the same with IOG. You guys probably know, as I say, you will know more people than I do in IOG. I knew Chris and his team, but again, I know they've been run off their feet trying to get stuff done. But I was going to put a call into IOG as well, because I'd like this stuff we've been doing and the stuff I've been doing before. I'd like it to carry on and to build the platform. That's why we invested the effort this time last year, last November, 2 Novembers ago now. That's why we invested all the effort to try and build a thing that would help Cardano and Catalyst and our clients as well.
Harry, do you have any contacts to? So the one thing I'm thinking of, IOG has obviously this campus at Edinburgh University.
Yeah.
So some of the coding. So if we are, because we want to put a SIP in, right, to make the blockchain more sustainable, and it would be super useful to have maybe use the connections we have in the UK, especially meet people maybe in person, whether or not in London or in Edinburgh. But if you know anyone there at the university, for example, then that would be one way of developing a SIP.
Yeah, I can certainly help with that, Christian. I can certainly help, because it was David Taylor, wasn't it?
Well, David Taylor's in London. He's the marketing person. He's not really at Edinburgh.
I thought he was up in Edinburgh as well. Okay, no, he's London.
I
And
don't
then
know.
it's Professor, and I can't remember his name, the guy
There's
that's up
this
in
Greek
Edinburgh.
guy. There's the Greek.
Agilos.
Yeah. No, I can have a crack at that. I have had a meeting with Emergo with a really helpful guy called Yogi Masusika, who is the chief of staff. And we were going to have another meeting to talk about how Edify and Emergo could do stuff together. And I think this is a real area where we could support them. Because they're a consultancy and we're a consultancy, basically. But using this angle, using you guys, we can put a more focused proposition together with them.
So C4C and Sustainable ADA, I mean, all of our partners there would get behind supporting and collaboratively building a SIP such as the one we're discussing. And they've got resources too.
Yeah. Okay. It may, again, I'm talking a lot where I'm saying I don't know, because I don't. But hopefully after Fund 9, Fund 10 will either be just the same, or someone will have understood the massive value that all of us add to that discussion. Like you were just saying, all of the sustainability stuff, all of the intangible asset stuff, all the business stuff. You would hope they've got their heads around it, but I'm not sure they have. So
I think the Catalyst is a separate. I mean, we are not very involved with the Catalyst. We've done it because C4C is the Catalyst, group, and they understand it very well, and they're behind the governance of it as well. They get involved in the governance, and we are not so connected with regards to and it feels a bit like Catalyst is also its own community, and they have these town halls, and I don't go there just purely because it's another thing. You spend at least 2 meetings every week, and you just throw ideas around, and they know each other, and then you pat each other on the back, but you get collaborations that you get going, and you work together to make best of the funding. But but it's not yet. It's still very difficult to get into that space, and maybe we come across like that too. It's not that easy for other people to join us, I guess. But from outside, but because there are only small groups, around still. We always think Cardano is such a big thing, but it's still small communities that are trying their best to survive at the moment, and also to thrive and develop things. And there's a lot of bad feelings as well. I mean, if you look at some of the tweets of people building, sometimes they are quite frustrated, with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we have the same experience sometimes with people that are more passive, and that's why it's so important. How can we make people active? How can we get that vision across? And but yeah, what we focus on? What should we focus on? And I think we have clear ideas, thanks to your workshop, already what to focus on. We just have to spend the time on doing them before taking on more things. But the collaborations and getting more people in together is always a good thing in my eyes. So yeah, if you could look into, if you have a connection to Edinburgh, that would be useful. And then obviously, if you have a little chit chat with Rick because visualizing some of the ideas, and Rick is very good at it, and for some reason he still has more energy than I have, and many of us. And he is, because I know why, because he has his permaculture farm right there in front of him and the plan, and he just get his pool,
like focusing on the end game.
and he's learning and he's doing, and I think he's doing very well. So yeah, I think that he would be a good person to kind of refine what we discussed the last time a little bit more with your help, Harry. And then we can maybe look at it more together, but we do need to deliver to.
Well, let's do that, because the bit I've got, the acknowledgement, the bit I've got for you guys is, the problem is you're in a space where you've got all those potentials going on, and you get it and you understand how to work through it. But as Devin said, it's this business about making it simple enough so that someone who would come on board and would benefit will put their precious time and effort to it. And it is a snowball. Once you get the snowball rolling, then you'll get to the critical mass, and then you'll work it out. And we can help. That's the next level, really. You guys, we can help with that and do this business about exponential growth, exponential organizations, how to use exponentials to grow. We can do that with you guys. And there is a platform there. It's all about building platform now. That's the next level of coaching for you guys, which we haven't talked about. But it's building platform. And you guys are amazing. You've got all the right ingredients to build an amazing platform. And I don't use the word amazing much. I've used it more recently, but you have. So it's just getting you lined up to do that with least stress.
Yeah. Well, I think we have had a good discussion now about it. Let's digest this a little bit, and then obviously we come back next Monday. We also maybe if Rick should have a little bit of time, maybe you can have a look at it.
If we can have a session in between times, that'd be good. And again, if Leon was saying he was happy to do some stuff, then whatever, let's put a bit of time in there, because we can pretty much quickly nut out then what a catalyst proposal would look like. And the difference is this time it could be more rounded than the ones we put in before. And what happens then, guys, like you were saying, John, is you put the bloody thing in, and then we do the promo stuff a bit and everything, but we've got much more weight to do that this time. And seriously, either they'll go for it or they won't. It's as simple as that.
So are we talking about going through the slides to get a synthesized deck of graphics to show ourselves and others what, in a nutshell,
That's a good question. That's a good question. I'll answer it, Devin.
Or are we going through the deck to try to build a catalyst proposal?
No, that's why I cut across you.
Okay.
Because we may be a bit blurry. There were 4 areas to get resources. There's Cardano Foundation, Emergo, IOG, and Catalyst, stroke F whatevers. So what we said at the start of the thing, to summarize it from my point of view, what we said at the start was, okay, can we put in a Catalyst F10 proposal, even if it didn't get somewhere, it would get us bootstrapped to do something about this, bringing on the community, educating the community, making it easy for them. That was point 1. What you guys said was, well, actually, with the Cardano Foundation and potentially with Emergo, there's stuff in there where we've actually got a really strong business case where we could help CF. And that, in the end, goes down your SIP bit, but it starts off with, well, what can we do to help you to help us? Well, they can come up with some sensible funding over a period of time. And that may just be opening that conversation up about, well, how could we help them to help us to help them? And that's that's your graphics deck. That's what we're talking about. A very specific deck that you guys can use on top of it. But the nice thing is it's got a very tight focus on being able to present to CF or maybe Emergo or maybe IOG, but it's one that we can put together that explains all that value add and where you're off to and what you're trying to do. Because as I understood it, that was their question, wasn't it? They said, what are you doing next?
But
So
even that the use case for that deck is internal. It's for ourselves to be able to visualize where we landed and show other non-active members within CNC. That's the first use case. It's just the work we did.
Yeah, that's the business case. And it's slightly different. That's the business case slides, which we're going to deliver to wrap the project up. Yeah. Then level 1 above that is, right, let's take some of those and let's get it framed up as to, well, what areas do you want to move into? What do you want to do? How are you going to support Cardano Foundation? And how can they support you? So that'll be level 2 deck.
And that's building our platform, leveraging our brand, getting legitimacy from partnerships and channels. And under that platform comes the specifics of SIPs, educational component on the website, building a portfolio of sequestration projects and orgs that we fund, et cetera, et cetera.
That's it. Then level 3 is Emergo, where we go, look, this is all the stuff we're doing, for CNC. This is all the stuff CNC is doing for CF. Oh, why can't we get that funded by Emergo then? And whether that's a grant or, they do valuation funding. They fund dApps. So why don't they just fund CNC?
Does Emergo have ADA? I mean, they fund with ADA, right?
I don't know.
Because if they have substantial ADA sitting in wallets, they could stake to our pools and fund us.
And that's the next stupid conversation, isn't it? You guys don't actually need real money. You just need ADA that you can stick in your pool.
Yeah, I definitely think they've got loads of ADA, for sure, yeah.
So
I know they actually, like a venture capital, they've got a venture capital arm.
I mean, that could be our first ask is just, hey, stake to our pools with your treasury.
Yeah, it's a great idea, actually.
Yeah. We
just have to give them something for it so they can sell it themselves to their marketing teams and to their
So this is the thing about SBOs that I don't understand why it hasn't been coordinated and leveraged, because all they have to do is do what CF are doing, not properly, but consistently or coherently, and they would grow that bedrock of SBOs massively. Now, I may be totally wrong, of course, because I know nothing about this, but that's what's obvious to me. And then level 4, the next level up, is the IOG one, where again we go to IOG and say, well, okay, if you want Catalyst to work, a thread of that is the SPO, a thread of Cardano is the SPO that you control. And why not just have an SPO fund every time, rather than it going in and out of miscellaneous doodahs, a bit like they have WADA with Africa, excuse me. Just commit to 2 years worth of Catalyst projects for SPOs. Then you can build your SIP stuff properly. Then you can build all that stuff long term. I don't have those connections at the level to talk to people, to have those conversations.
Build the stack first. Let's build. I mean, if you are happy to build a simple stack with, let's say, whatever 10 slides, let's start there, or 5 slides or something like that, with the ideas we already put together, and you know that Rick maybe put his magic on. But I think mostly that I just, because we haven't put that down anywhere, but the kind of ideas we threw around last time,
yeah,
people liked, and where we have direct rewards, for example, where we, for example, consider directly investing into token projects that are doing good work or things like that. I don't know, we didn't take any notes then, but if we can crystallize that a little bit, then we can get more people behind it, because I don't want to go with a slide deck to any organization where we are not fully behind.
And that we haven't had a chance to, as you say, streamline that down so that everybody's on board. We know what we're doing. We've, for example, started selecting to build our portfolio.
Because it's time, you know, we really want to invest the time in something that we can believe in. And so it's better to take in a few extra weeks. That's why Catalyst is probably a bit short notice, and we have other things to do too. But I think if we can get the slides, then that would help us. The idea is to just distill those things, and then it's an easy way to communicate it with the rest of the group as well.
That's fabulous, but don't go too scientific-y on it. This isn't scientific materialism. We need an MVP.
Yeah. Exactly, but it needs to chime, right? It needs to...
I could just hear this bit coming in, but then we could do revision 12, and then after that we've got another 6 months, and then we'll build it into, which I totally get the power of. But yeah,
I know we can get money, but when you get money, you feel like you then have to deliver, and
oh,
you know,
my God, and you guys never deliver.
Well,
it was a massive issue for you, isn't it, delivering? Yeah.
Got his own skeleton there.
To be honest, we have delivered over and over and over again, and we delivered intensive amounts of work from a relatively small pool of people. But the one F7 grant that we have gotten, that Christian has gotten, we feel badly about, and we want to get that delivered, because that's the thorn in our side, and it hinges much of this that we're discussing and being able to leverage hinges upon delivering that.
Yeah.
Does it really?
It does in my mind.
I'm being harsh with you guys again because I'm tired. Look, what I heard, and I'm being harsh with you, but what I heard is you guys have an amazing intent, and the acknowledgement is you've done amazing work, and now you're getting into the scientific, let's flagellate ourselves. Yeah, let's join Opus Dei and flagellate ourselves because we didn't all get it all done by Wednesday. Yeah, you've done amazing stuff. Yeah, okay, you picked an F7. I've done our F7s now, they're all done, but we're still closing off set 8s and to do. But the point is, I've worked on those projects all year, and some of my colleagues have too. So we know we've done what we can, but sometimes this stuff just takes longer, and particularly if you're underfunded, it just takes longer because you can't put your whole time on it. And that's one of the issues. So in that context, I would say, yeah, you haven't done your F7, but I don't think, from what I understood of your F7, that you need that to be able to build a CNC community or to be able to promote having carbon neutral stake pools.
No, absolutely not. But it's a carbon accounting is super important for everything.
I get all that, but it's not what we were talking about you guys being brilliant.
And we will do it. We will do it. I mean, it is a major focus of, it has to be a focus of mine. And so we will focus on it. That's why I'm not going to take on more jobs right now. I have plenty, obviously, other than the Monday meetings, and get things moving forward, which already takes enough time. But that's why I'm saying, okay, if people want to take things on, I mean, because you are adding value, Harry. So you kind of, if people have time to spend the extra time, you know, and obviously Rick is keen and whatever, you know, we need that focus on the product or whatever you want to call it. So, and if we can create value for all of us, you know, that's the way forward. It's about where people want to spend their time.
And I'm giving you guys some pushback, because what you guys do, just like we were talking about CF or whatever, particularly with you and Devon, which is a good driving force behind it, but you are operating at the level of a team of scientists that would have 10 people in each team, or technologists, and there are 3 or 4 of you, and you're delivering the level of effort that 20 people would deliver. That's what's obvious to me. So when I'm saying to you guys, yeah, you may say you need to have F7 finished, I'm saying the fact that you've got anywhere near any of it done and done your ISPO and everything else is quite astounding. So cut yourself some slack and don't conflate your value with the ability to deliver a project which should have had 5 times as many people working on it and be paid.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're going to do our thing, right? But we know what we have to do, I think. So let's just finish it for tonight, because we all got a bit tired, at least me, because I'm old and I need some sleep. No, I actually need to go out and charge my car so I can get tomorrow morning to work, because I only got 20 miles left on the charge and I don't have a charger at home. I'll have to go to McDonald's or something and charge for an hour.
Terrible.
Because my partner's not here and she's not cooking for me. How very sexist of me.
Well, buy something at McDonald's while you're waiting for charging.
That's it. Yeah, do go and get no.
Terrible.
You could have done this meeting in your car, Christian.
Yeah.
You could have done this meeting in your car.
Well, but I want to be on the. I can't see it on the phone. I can't do it on the phone. It's just...
Did you get a Tesla, man? You got a nice big screen there. You never knows.
I need to see your pretty faces, you know. Yeah.
I heard it then, just to nail it, because it was a tight meeting on this one. Yes, Devon, absolutely. There's a stack of things to deliver, and we'll start off with the simple one, which is get this little business plan set of slides done so you can then use that internally, externally, and build out your prop. Then we'll leverage it to level 2, where we're building some stuff, and we'll carry on using the Rick Genius. And again, if Leon's around, that's cool too, and anyone else. And we'll see what we can build as a story for CF. And that's really it. That's what we're talking about. In the background, what I'll do, I'll have a look around and we'll have a chat with Rick and their guys again about, okay, if we were to put a Catalyst proposal in to get funded to do some of this stuff, what would that look like? Yeah. But that won't be much input from you guys at all, other than just being happy with it, signing it off and editing it. Because I think, like you, we put one in, it could well get funded, and that would be brilliant. But maybe it won't get funded, and then that's okay, just move on. Yeah. Are we on the same page with that?
Very good.
Yeah.
I need to go to McDonald's.
Yeah, get out there, get to Mackie D's.
This bloody charger works, otherwise I have to sit in the middle of nowhere. There is no food.
And where do you live in London then?
I'm not in London, I'm in Sheffield.
In Sheffield? Oh, you may have told me that and I completely forgot.
Yeah.
Well, you're much closer to Edinburgh. Just get in your car, get yourself back to Edinburgh Union, stop messing about.
I have been to Glasgow and I've been to Edinburgh, but I have been reaching out to Edinburgh University and I didn't get, there is a carbon accounting professor there and he just never replied to me. And the IOG people, obviously it's, well, I haven't really tried that bit because, there's lots of questions and research stuff. Anyway, but I'd love to go back. I mean, that's fine. I'd like to meet people in person. I mean, just if we can. Why are you duplicating? Why are you
There's two of me now.
That's good. Give one of them some work, Rick.
It's gonna be the Hydra. It's Rick the Hydra.
He
Gonna start
got
the
a
Hydra head.
triple.
Hydra head.
Yeah,
My
you
kill
probably,
switch.
you probably won't remember. That was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He looks like Zyphod Beeblebrox as well.
Absolutely
Can
fantastic.
you kiss yourself, please? Don't do that.
No, that's getting too weird now. That's just too weird.